Welcome, Susan Burrell.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm going to start with gratitude to everybody in the room because I just listening to everybody with the introductions, I've kind of fallen in love. And so I really appreciate each and every one of you ahead of time for the work that you're doing in your community and in your life, because just the love in the room that I feel already makes a difference. I think everybody knows that already anyway, right? Right, you guys? Yeah. So I do things a little differently because I've learned in my older years to become a rebel instead of a rule follower. So what on the table, there's a short experiential. And the first piece is you're just going to answer some questions just to kind of sauce it up for yourself. But before you address that, I want to ground everybody. So if you would allow me just a moment to drop in. So I'm going to ask you all just to kind of get centered and close your eyes and just breathe into your heart center, allowing it to open. And then I'm going to ask you to, as that heart opens, feel the love that resides within you and allow that love to just saturate your entire being, mental, emotional, and physical being. Saturating yourself with love. And then taking another breath, I want you to open your heart just a little bit more to include the circle that's sitting at your table, so that each and every person at your table is now on your circle. And then one more breath into that heart space, bringing yourself present to now, to the chair, and when you're ready, open your eyes. And I want you just to briefly take a short amount of time to fill out this sheet, okay? I'll give you 1 minute. And just write down the first thing that comes into your head. You don't have to belabor it. But just notice if it stumps you or if it makes you go, wow, I didn't know that. And I'm just going to give you 20 more seconds. Okay. Okay, so thanks for doing that. You can, if you didn't get a chance to finish, you can take that with you and complete it. But the reason why I wanted to start with that is because what I'm going to share with you tonight is how you can develop your own inner moral compass that you can put into your business. Because like the guys were saying, business isn't just about the monetary, the material. It is about the whole Megillah, right? And it is about having some sort of inner connection with yourself and your inner authority that then will, in putting it out into your business, will help your business flourish, okay? So I'm just going to tell you a short story. Hopefully it's short. A few years ago, I went into divorce. It was heart-shattering, heart-wrenching. How many people got divorced, been divorced? Okay, so you guys know. And I didn't know who I was. I realized during the course of it, I didn't know who I was. I didn't like myself. I didn't love myself. And it was like, oh my God, how do I go forward in my life? So I had to learn how to rebuild myself from the inside out. And part of it was using a whole bunch of different skill sets that I learned over the years as an intuitive healer and a teacher and a spiritual guide. And that's part of what we did just now, is to connect with yourself and your heart, because the intuition within is what your wisdom is. So the story goes like this. So I'm in divorce, and I was in yet another lawyer's office, and he's explaining to me whatever the thing is that I had to pay attention to. And I looked on the wall, and he had a compass on his wall. And he said, you know, I said, tell me about that compass. And he said, well, that's what my guidance system is. I said, okay. He goes, yeah, because there's really only 2 points on that compass. And I looked at the compass, there were like 8 points. I'm like, okay, so? He said, yeah, there's either right or wrong. And I went, oh my gosh, oh my God, he's missing life. He's missing all the other points that could be, and a compass is a circle, right? That could be part of how he lives his life. And how can he help anybody, any lawyers? I didn't hear any lawyers, but oh my God, okay, good. Because my thought was, how can he really come to the best result for his client if there's only 2 ways to do business, right or wrong? And so I went home and thought about it, and I realized that what's happened, okay, so what's happened in the world, I'll get to the compass in a minute, is, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but over the last 20, 40 years, the paradigm is shifted. And we're now seeing it. We're seeing all the flotsam and stuff coming up. And the paradigm that has shifted is we've moved from a masculine energy paradigm, which is a very linear, organized way of doing things. It's what built civilizations. It's what protected countries. It's what built businesses and Fortune 500s. And it became a top-down kind of system. There's only a handful of people at the top, and everybody works for them, right? And that system is breaking down, and we're witnessing it now, because the new paradigm is a more feminine paradigm. It is about being in connection, in collaboration, in communication. It is about cooperation. And the feminine paradigm is about a circle. And everybody gets to sit on the circle or come to the table, and their unique skill set, their opinion, like Megan was bringing up earlier, their opinion matters, their creativity matters, their intelligence matters, the way they live their life and the choices they make matter. In the old paradigm, it wasn't as important what you were, who you were as an individual, as long as you produced, right? And so, and how many entrepreneurs starting your own business? Yeah, so that, everybody practically, right? And so that is because there is somewhere in you, okay, I'm speaking for you, you don't, this can't be true necessarily, but certainly for me, I realized within myself, if I continued to be that rule follower, I was going to die. Because my creativity was stunted, my self-expression, my self-respect, I was still suppressing myself. And so I began to stretch myself out into becoming a rebel, which means I'm gonna really try and learn how to do it my way. So part of when I was in the lawyer's office and he said, it's right and wrong, and it was the whole duality thing. It's either black or white. It's either us versus them. So there's always something against you, right? But the new paradigm, the feminine paradigm, while it is still a strong paradigm, and it's not about dissing or getting rid of the masculine, it's about embracing it, because again, it's this collective, right? It's a whole, it's a circle, right? Is about allowing, like I said earlier, each and every person to bring their own perceptions to the table. And it also then requires us to begin to listen more deeply to each other. So noodling on this whole compass thing, I realized that some people go to work or they start their business, and the idea, like these guys were talking about earlier, that say, it's again, I know so, I love that. I love that. So they know, when you go and you start a business, you think it's about money. It's about producing. It's about extending yourself out, but not necessarily from your heart. And what I've witnessed now is when people are heart-centered and they go into their business from that place, they're more authentic, they're more vulnerable, which then draws people to them, not like flies on honey, but because as you're more open and more vulnerable, you're more accessible, so somebody can feel that you actually are a human being. You're not a facade. You're not just this thing that's doing business. So another exercise for everybody. How many people know about mind mapping? Okay, great. So we're going to do a short mind map on this blank piece of paper that's next. Because what I want to invite you guys to do, having done your am I empowered, what does it look like, feel like thing, am I not? I want you to mind map. The center is going to be either the center of the map. It looks like, for people that don't know, you draw a circle in the center. This is my map. I wrote, what is my moral compass? But it can be your core values, or it can be your principles that you stand on. And off of that, you're going to do spokes on a wheel, okay? And you're going to write down different words. And the words I want to encourage you to write are things like, part of your core values is for you to be creatively expressed. Okay, so creativity may be one, honesty may be one, compassion may be one. Things that really resonate deeply with you. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that. Just let it, just brainstorm it. Don't short circuit it. Don't try and control. Don't fall into the masculine paradigm of making it right and wrong. There's no right and wrong. Just allow your creativity to flow as you just kind of empty out your brain, okay?
Susan?
Yeah.
What goes in the center?
Either your core values or your principles.
And then the spokes?
Are what those are. What does that represent? And actually for me, it's spiritual principle, right? It's because there is a higher creative here. But if that doesn't resonate, you choose core value. But make it bigger than what you think. And this is your opportunity to really expand yourself. And you might find that there's certain things that you haven't had in your life yet, or you haven't expressed yet up until now. What is it that you think you would like to invite in for expression? Or recognize it already resides within you and you want to bring it out more into the world? And I recognize for some of you linear thinkers, because that often happens, this might be more challenging. Just allow yourself some space and time. Okay. If you don't feel complete with it, that's okay. You get to take it home and you can keep working on it. But I want you to look at it now and see which star, like the first four, 3 or 4, that have the most importance to you. So when I did this for myself, when I teach or when I work with clients, it's always from my own personal experience. I can only teach what I've already experienced and learned. I refuse to be the person that teaches what I don't know, right? If I go through the bumps and grinds of that kind of experience of daily life, then I know I can express it to my clients. So doing this, when I did my mind map, which I showed you guys, is kind of a mess, but it was like I was just really confused. And it distilled down to exactly the right amount to fit my moral compass. And I'll share with you what they are. Because I realized always, especially coming out of a 28-year marriage, and being shattered by the divorce of it, my entire life had been, I stand on integrity. So that became one of my most important points. It always has been, but I put it on my compass. Because if I don't stand in my own personal integrity, then how can I be honest with anyone if I can't be honest with myself? So I have a quote that I printed up from a wonderful book called The Gentle Art of Blessing by Pierre Pradevin. And I'm just going to read a couple of things off of it, but this is a really good definition for integrity. Integrity is a quality of being. It is holding on to that which you know to be your highest truth and vision at all times, whatever the cost. It is resonating at the deepest fiber of your being, which urges you to peacefully but firmly hold your ground, whatever the supposed prestige of the authority or person opposing you, not out of stubbornness, but prompted by the quiet daring of that inner urge in you, which says, to thine own self be true. Integrity is about speaking truth to power, when silence would be easier or more advantageous to your interests. I haven't read this in a long time. I'm just recognizing how amazing it is that I'm reading it on this day tonight. Anyway, that's a sidebar. So as I, again, was going through my integrity, so integrity was on my compass, but then I also realized that truth is too. I learned early on that even, this is my own personal value, my own personal principle, but even if I would tell a white lie, it would be found out. So I learned early on to really try and just tell the truth. And at this new point in my life, it had to start with me. What is my new truth? What is true for me? And what am I hiding from within myself? Where am I still afraid to look at those kind of dark corners in me and not be honest with myself? And a lot of us, I think, I may be speaking for just myself, but I think we often find that there's kind of dark places that we don't want to investigate. We don't want to excavate. It's just good to keep the door shut. You know, like those closets that are over full and then you open the door and you're like, oh my God. It's kind of like that. So the next thing was, what else could I embrace? And I realized that I wanted to embrace being more love, which meant I had to learn how to love myself. Because I'd never been taught that. Anybody ever been taught how to love yourself from childhood? Yay! Yay! Good for you. But many of us were never taught how to love ourselves. We were taught to give love, right? So we can receive love. And then we start looking for love in all the wrong places, right? And we're constantly going out seeking love to fill the hole within us because we don't know how to love ourselves first. So love became a priority on my compass. Loving myself first so that I could love others more. And compassion then, compassion. Because as I began to love myself more, or learn how to do it, I became more compassionate towards myself, which caused me to become more compassionate towards others. Make sense? Yeah? So then the next one became generosity, because as I became more compassionate, I became more generous to myself. Okay, so I'm not feeling so good today, I think I'm going to take a nap. That's kind of generous, huh? Especially when you're an entrepreneur. There's always something to do or get done. Or when you're running, 3 businesses? Oh my goodness, always something to get done. So becoming more generous with ourselves then allows us to be more generous with others. And then there became the happiness factor for me, because I really wanted to have a second half of life that was happy more often than not. And I actually have to tell you, it is. I am more happy than I've ever been in my life because I love and respect myself more. So then I added creativity because I wanted to have out-of-the-box thinking, realizing that following the rules only got me into a corner that I was unhappy in. Developing out-of-the-box thinking, or learning at least how to put one flap of the box down so I could see that there was something else, right? You know, when you break down a box, you got to break down those flaps so you can, right? So opening up that box so I could get out of it, or at least see I had an avenue, a stage door exit, you know, kind of strategy helped. And then the other thing was freedom. And for me, I think freedom, love, and integrity are now kind of on the same tier, because I knew I wanted to be free. And the freedom was all the inner belief systems I had developed throughout my life that kept me shackled in unhappiness, in a relationship that really wasn't working for me anymore, in a job where I was constantly working for the other person, in, you know, all those things. Anybody ever feel like you hadn't been completely free? Okay, thank you. thank you. At school, yeah, I get it. So I invite you to take a few minutes to write a few of your values on your compass. And then we're going to do a last thing, an experiential. Well, the whole thing's an experiential, huh? And even if you don't have all the points, that's okay. You can figure it out later too. Look at you, you're great. Oh my gosh, that's great. Good job, Mom. Thank you. All right. Now what I'm going to ask you to do is take your compass. This is okay.
Values?
Yeah. I'm going to give a couple people a little more time. Not naming names. Okay. Put at least 3 on yours first right now for what we're about to do. I know you do. So what we're going to do next is this is going to be about bringing your moral compass, your core values into your heart so that you can take it into your business. Okay? This is not just a thing you do when you go home and put on your comfy clothes and hang out with your significant other, whether it's a fur baby or not. This is for each of us to bring it into our business, okay? So I want you to look at your compass and mentally read each value that's on there for yourself. And then what I want you to do is close your eyes again. And I want you to see in your mind's eye these values on your compass. And again, breathing into that heart center, opening it just a little bit more. And see that compass moving into the center of your heart with all those qualities and values. And even maybe some of the other ones that are on your mind map if you've got even more than what's on your compass. And just see them entering into your heart, anchoring there. And since you are saturated in love already, just soak that compass in more love, allowing your system to uptake it and download it. Good. And then with another breath, mentally tell yourself, I accept who I am right now. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes. Okay, so how'd that feel? I'm seeing some yes, I'm seeing some yeah. So, again, I really appreciate y'all letting me be here. It was read, or somebody said it earlier, I wrote a book. I'm an author, a podcaster, and an intuitive healer, and a spiritual guide. And what that means is I coach people. And so I brought my books, if anybody's interested. I also have affirmation cards that also have inspiring quotes. And so there's, for tonight, for your group, thank you. For your group, that we're giving you a special deal. If you buy a book, you get the deck of cards with it for free. And if anybody's interested, I'm doing a book study. I'm just going to let you know. I'm starting a book study on the book, and it's going to be on Zoom. So it's a virtual book study. I'm calling it Journey Circles. And Bianca's going to hand out something for y'all to look at. Take with you. If you're interested in being involved in the book study, if you would just write your name on the back of this, your name, your phone number, and your email, and we'll let you know that Zoom is going to start in June. We're going to Zoom in June to study the book. Does anybody have any questions? Okie dokie.
Did you take that card?
Can
Yes,
we find you on Insight Timer?
Oh,
Yes.
Teresa. So I also have guided meditations that are on an app that you can get on your phone or your iPad called Insight Timer. If you go to my website, you'll find everything. The podcasts, the meditations, and videos, and things like that. And to answer your question, yes, I take a credit card or check. And yeah. And if you think about it later and you want to contact me, you can do it through the website if you've got questions. If something stirs up, please contact me. Thank you so much. And again, I so appreciate the love and the grace that you guys bring into this room. Qu'est-ce que c'est? The book is $25 with the cards. The Zoom session for this group tonight, it's a 6-week study, and it's $497. Thank you.
Oh, wait, don't go yet.
Oh my gosh.
This is a token of a token of gratitude from PWN. Please accept this. with our thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.